if you want to be our members, and then we can talk.
The chamber is a registered. It is a registered entity. It has rules and regulations by which it works. Okay, it's registered as a company limited by guarantee at the Registrar General's Department. It has its rules, its regulations, etc. And therefore, as I've emphasized a couple of times, anybody engaged in legalized mining who wants to join would have to be able to comply with it.
But are the members of the chamber interested in mainstreaming artisanal and small-scale miners, interested in working with them, trying to forge links? You represent 2/3, you're the majority of our gold production.
I think that, as I just indicated, the chamber is interested in collaborating with the government as well as with the small-scale miners to ensure that that sector is also well regulated, because the chamber also stands to benefit if that sector is well regulated. If a lot of the small-scale miners are able to grow to become medium-scale, etc., larger ones, and can be members of our chamber, we'll be very happy. So, but then as it is, there are problems with that sector now, and therefore the chamber is playing a very key role. So we are collaborating. We are playing a key role to come up with some of the issues, some of the problems, and trying to identify areas that will enable the small-scale mining area to work better. For instance, as part of the research that I mentioned, one of the findings we made is that one of the problems that has resulted in a lot of illegal foreigners within the small-scale mining area, which is reserved for Ghanaians, is that most of the people who go for the licenses do not have the resources to get the equipment to do the mining. So what happens is a Ghanaian goes for the license through the Minerals Commission. He doesn't have the resources to mine. So there are these companies that are into service provision. So they are not registered as small-scale miners, but they have equipment ready to sort of lease out, etc. So these small-scale miners enter into various agreements with these service providers. Then they do the mining. And we found out that when they mine on this concession of the Ghanaian who is holding the concession, at the end of the day, that Ghanaian gets 15%, and then the service provider gets 85% of what comes out of it. So these are some of the problems we have identified in the course of the research that we undertook together with these small-scale miners. So if this industry is reserved for Ghanaians, you can see clearly at the end of the day, most of the Ghanaians who are the concession holders are not really benefiting much from what actually happens on the ground. So one of the things we are recommending as part of the policy dialogue from the research is that the government should consider setting up a pool, like an equipment pool, a pool of equipment that is needed for mining, so that these Ghanaians who get the concessions will not be compelled to go to these foreign-owned service providers so that at the end of the day they get much less from the whole enterprise.
Talking about concession and benefits, let me share a post by one of our viewers, Nana Kwame Dansoan, and say he's saying that large-scale miners leave behind already prospected mineral sites, and these become attractive to anyone who thinks that it's a resource that's lying idle and could be of benefit to the community. I'll come to you on that. But looking at the links between benefits and detriments, if we say that small-scale mining, both legal and illegal, accounts for 1/3 of our annual gold production and accounts for about 1 million operators in that sector, what should our thinking be when it comes to the health detriments that some of these unsafe and unhealthy practices bring along with them? One of the biggest concerns is the impact on the environment and the impact on human beings.
Well, thank you. But like I started mentioning previously, if mining is done on a well-regulated and monitored, systems, its effect on the environment is minimized. If its effect on water bodies is virtually nil. That's why we're trying to put in place systems to regulate this small-scale mining industry. I started by saying that the government or the Minerals Commission has blocked out areas, over 4,000 square kilometers areas, and 360 of those areas are being prospected. Now, you mentioned maybe I don't know what was his contributor who said that probably the people prospect and then leave the land. Fine. The main reason why most of these illegal activities are on large-scale mining is that the areas have been prospected, so they know their values. Interestingly, the large-scale mines use the indigenes most often to do these prospecting activities. So they know the routine, they know the route. So they leave it, they go, they come and do illegal. What is happening now on the ground is our small-scale miners don't have any geological information on where they tend to go and do activities. So it's like scavenging. They try and error. They go dig, they don't get anything, then most of them just run away.
And they still manage to produce a third of our
That's why I'm saying that if they are regulated and they are brought into the mainstream, like what you're saying, definitely the production will be very, very high. So what we're doing now is prospect the place, put values on it, put a price tag on it, and then give it to our prospective miners. We have technical people on the ground who regularly, the Minerals Commission has a division, the inspector division, which are charged with these health and safety issues. They go around often, even both large and small scale mining, to see how the activities are being done. But most of these illegal activities are done on the blind side of these authorities. It's only when it becomes something that is uncontrollable that we get hint of it, because it starts maybe from one or two people. They start the moment the news goes around, oh, we've hit a very good target, then you can see people probably streaming inside. That's what you saw in the picture is just like an unregulated mining activity. So we put in so many things in place. Sheila talked about probably creating a plant pool. The Mineral Commission either to run we call it a high purchase scheme for the small scale miners. They come, we give them monies to buy some of the basic equipment that they need to use. But interestingly, because they don't know what was on the ground, they went in, most of them lost. So it's becoming difficult paying back some of these monies. That's why we're trying to shift. We want to have a paradigm shift, get the place prospected. Then if you go there, we ourselves know that probably you have, let's say, 10 tons sitting over there. You can't tell us you don't have anything. Then we can easily extrapolate and know how much probably you produce. Aside that, we trying to engage stakeholders, because you've seen that the issue of the negativity of this mining is national, but its solution can be tackled at the local level. Because if you are there, you are, let's say, a landowner, and you see somebody coming to ask for probably a place to mine, and you are able to insist, where are your papers or where are your license listing, and you don't allow the person to influence you with maybe some money for him to go and do it illegally. I think these things are also part of our problem. So one, we started rolling up programs of education. Sheila mentioned the BUSAC Fund. We want the Small Scale Miners Association, which are in place to sort of dialogue with the chamber and then the BUSAC Fund, so that some of these educational or sensitization activities should continue, because they are already ongoing. The law also provides for setting up of district mining committees to regulate some of these small scale mining activities. That's why I'm saying we want to go down to the grassroots, because if you are in an environment and you have a river or a stream that you drink from, and someone else is coming and say, oh, take probably 10,000 and let me go dig within the stream, and you not being so, you think only of yourself. So that is the problem. And then you allow the person to go do that thing, then you can see the repercussion, because it is the water, so far as it's disturbed upstream, flows downstream. So it's not only one person who would probably have the effects of this water cost running, so many people downstream. So we try to make sure we marginalize some of these activities on areas which are blocked solely for small scale mining activities. One, the government has also put in place this national security subcommittee on the lands and natural resources. Once we bring in some of these security forces to flush out some of these recalcitrant illegal operators. So we are firing on all cylinders. But the Minerals Commission wants now to zero in on probably the assemblies, because what we are saying is that for every legal concession to be given, the assembly is involved. The assembly does the publication to sort of make the community aware that an activity is coming to take place. After the license is processed, copies are given to the assemblies. So definitely they are in the node of where legal activities are taking place. It's only the illegal ones that if we chance, then we bring in either the DISEC or the RESEC or the national security to sort of manage those those issues. So we trying to put in place. And let me just also say this. The previous sector minister, Honorable Mike Hammer, took the fight to some of these illegal operators. I quite remember I was part of a Central Arch that visited the Gold Force in Prestia. And when he got there, he just said, no, I want to visit an illegal operation site. So quickly, we just sniffed around, and then we had information from the local small-scale miners association that there were massive operations somewhere. So we said we would want to go. The security of the mine were leading us, but when we got to the junction of where we need to branch, they took left and we took right. We just traveled some 30, I must say 30, some 10-15 minutes, and if you look at the devastation which we met, we saw 4 excavators there, some Chinese in operation. The moment the Chinese saw us, they took to the bush. We couldn't run after them because most of those places are infested with pits and holes. So if you don't know your terrain, you might fall inside. See, we had to call in the police commander at Prestia to come and take custody of those excavators, and they are now being prosecuted. So you can see the animosity of probably the problem of illegal mining. You will be here, somebody will be doing this somewhere. And interestingly, when we were able to get one of the operators, and he told us emphatically that some chief around that area has a 10% share. So the chiefs, gave the place to them to mine illegally. See? So what we're saying is that if all of us, being stakeholders, because I will not say it's only the chamber or the Minerals Commission or the law enforcement agency, all of us are Ghanaians, and it is our land or our water which is being polluted. If we can be a bit patriotic and ask whoever is coming to mine to bring his legal documents. The moment you have your legal document, then we also know that our men on the field will be able to visit you regularly to make sure that you do the right thing. See? So we're trying to come out with, we are rolling out some programs which would probably sensitize everybody and educate everybody to know that the fight is not in the quarters of either the Minerals Commission or the Inspectorate or the Chamber of Mines, but holistically, all of us should put our shoulders to the wheel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi Tete of the Minerals Commission and Madam Sheila Minka Primo of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. Now, Kwame Danso, you say that until mining regulations are strictly checked and adhered to, Galamsey can never be controlled. And you think that you like this topic of discussion. I think that I like it too. Samuel Odini Hodadzi, I'd like to join you because you say you want to send your deepest condolences to the family of those 2 military men who passed away in the process of trying to combat some Galamsey operations. May their souls rest in peace.